The last thing I remember is being run over by a semi-truck. Meanwhile, my mom was at a birthday party for her stepdaughter, Jenna. When someone brought me up, my mom just scoffed. So I took $50,000 of her money to help Jenna with the down payment. What's the big deal? She's such an ungrateful brat. I got a second chance at life. This time, I decided to ditch my mother and her twisted love and get close to my stepmom instead. Funny thing is, nobody ever told me my stepmom was the richest woman in the city, ready to show me what living at the top was like. My last memory before I died was storming into the hotel where my mom was throwing Jenna a birthday party. I was on a business trip when Jenna called, telling me my mom had a stroke and needed $50,000 for emergency surgery. I sent her every penny I had, only to find out it was all a scam. My mom just wanted the money for Jenna's down payment. As I was crossing the street to confront them, a semi-truck came out of nowhere and slammed into me. I guess I wasn't dying fast enough, because it backed up and ran me over a few more times. Right before I died, I could faintly hear my mom's voice. So I took 50 grand for Jenna's house? And now she's throwing a tantrum and skipping the party? What an ungrateful brat. Jenna cooed next to her, Mom, it's one thing for her to hate me, but how could she ignore you like this? But Mom, your most obedient daughter died on your favorite daughter's birthday. Lynn, you're up next. Someone tapped my shoulder, and I snapped back to reality. The conference room, with its floor-to-ceiling windows, was blinding. I was alive again. Reborn on the day of my final internship presentation. I just stood there, stunned. My manager, Jen, looked at me with concern. What's wrong, Lynn? Are you feeling okay? I shook my head. No, I'm fine. Just spaced out for a second. Jen squeezed my hand under the table. It's okay, don't be nervous. Just nail this presentation. You've got the full-time offer in the bag. I nodded hard. Whether this was real or just some dying wish, I had to make it count. I pulled myself together, quickly closed all the social media tabs on my laptop, silenced my phone, and blocked my mom and Jenna. Last time, this was the day they ruined my dream job. Right as I was about to present, Jenna had called me frantic, saying our mom was in an accident, and I had to leave immediately to sign surgical consent forms. Between my mom and my career, I chose my mom. And I lost the job. But it was all a lie, a scheme cooked up by the two of them to get me to quit and come home, so they could keep using me as their personal cash cow. In my panic last time, I fell for their flimsy story hook, line, and sinker. This time, I wouldn't make the same mistake. When it was my turn, I walked confidently to the podium with my laptop and started my project presentation. I didn't stumble once. I knew this presentation by heart. I'd replayed it in my mind 1,000 times every night in my past life, full of regret. When I finished, I met the eyes of the company's owner, Mandy. Her expression was a mix of things: delight, admiration, and something that looked like pity. All right, that's it. Meeting adjourned. Just as she was about to leave the room, Mandy stopped and turned back. Jen, keep an eye on Lynn. I think she's got a lot of potential. The starting salary for a full-time position at this company was $8,000 a month. For a recent grad like me, that was an almost unimaginable amount of money. And now it was right in front of me. The overwhelming joy didn't make me lose my head. I picked up my phone and calmly unblocked Jenna and my mom. The second I did, a call from Jenna came through. Lynn, why are you just now answering? Mom was in a car accident. She needs surgery and there's no one to sign the papers. It's all your fault. I faked a gasp. What? How is she? I was in a meeting. When Jenna heard I'd finished my presentation, her voice twisted with anger. Lynn, how could you put work before Mom? I laughed coldly. Jenna, why do I have to be the one to sign? Your dad is her legal spouse. He has more right to sign than I do. Jenna was speechless for a moment. My dad, he's too scared. You have to be the one to sign. Besides, Mom's going to have a long recovery. You need to quit your job right now and come home to take care of her. I pretended to think. Okay, fine. I'm on my way. Which hospital are you at? Jenna didn't hesitate. City General. I burst out laughing. Perfect. I have an old friend who works at City General. I'll have her go check on Mom right now. Jenna immediately panicked. No, it's fine, don't bother her. Enough. Do you really think I'm that stupid? My voice turned to ice. I know what you're up to. You're just pissed that I'm not under your thumb anymore, right? The other end of the line went silent. After a long pause, a new voice came through, my mother's, loud and clear, with no trace of illness. Lynn, you little brat, you quit that job and get your ass back here right now. She immediately launched into a tirade. You think you've got wings now, huh? Going behind my back to find a job. In my past life, I took a gamble finding this job behind her back. But she and Jenna found out and destroyed everything at the most critical moment. I ignored her, screaming. I'm not quitting, I said, my voice firm. You're defying me? Is this how you repay me for all the years I spent putting you through school? I almost laughed out of sheer anger. Mom, can you even say that with a straight face? Did you give me a single dime during my 4 years of college? For 4 years, she never gave me a cent for living expenses. In the beginning, I used to ask, but all I ever got was a lecture. You've been in school this long and you still can't support yourself? Do you think money grows on trees? You have the nerve to ask me and your Uncle Charlie for money? You have no shame. I used to think she treated Jenna and me the same, until I saw Jenna living it up while studying abroad, constantly posting pictures on Instagram of the Hermes and Louis Vuitton bags my mom bought her. I kept telling myself we were both just living under someone else's roof, but the truth was, my mom blatantly favored Jenna. I thought about applying for financial aid, but how could I? My parents had respectable jobs, my sister was studying overseas, and we had a house and a car. So I had to work 2 part-time jobs just to scrape together enough for tuition and living expenses. My words left her speechless, but she pushed on anyway. I'm your mother. When I tell you to go east, you go east. You're disobedient and ungrateful, not half as considerate as Jenna. Then let your precious Jenna take care of you when you're old, I sneered. I'm not quitting. A person who gives birth but doesn't raise their child has no right to demand anything from me. With that, I hung up and blocked them both again. After it was all over, I sank into my chair, feeling completely empty. I really had a chance to take control of my own life. The unreality of it all made me want to cry, but the tears wouldn't come. I just sat there, gasping for air. In my last life, because I missed my presentation and my mom made it impossible for me to leave home, I lost this job. I eventually gave up and found a boring, ordinary job in my hometown. Meanwhile, my mom pulled some strings to get Jenna a cushy corporate job. My mom made Jenna and me each give her $200 a month. It wasn't until I died that I learned I was the only fool handing over money. My mom was saving it all up to buy Jenna a house. After I died, my spirit was too full of resentment to move on, and I lingered around my mom and Jenna. I found out they had taken out a massive life insurance policy on me. The car crash wasn't an accident, they had arranged the whole thing. They used the money from my death to buy a mansion and live like royalty. This time, I'm going to get as far away from them as possible. I won't let them win. The day had been too much. All I wanted was to go back to my little apartment and rest. As soon as I left the office, I felt a pair of eyes locked on me. I kept walking, acting casual, but secretly trying to see who was watching me. It was a run-down part of the city, with old buildings packed so tightly together you could barely breathe. I walked all the way to my building, then tapped on the window of the car that had been following me. The window rolled down, revealing a well-maintained face. Lily, I didn't mean any harm, I just wanted to see you. Lily, a name I hadn't heard in forever. Before my parents divorced, my name was Lily. But when my mom remarried, she wanted me to take her new husband's last name to suck up to him. Even as a little kid, I knew enough to refuse. As a compromise, she changed my first name to Lynn. The middle-aged woman looked flustered after I caught her. She stammered for a bit, trying to explain, and then her eyes started to well up. My mom didn't mean any harm, big sis. She just wanted to see if you were doing okay, a young girl in the passenger seat said, breaking the awkward silence. I recognized them immediately. They were the wife and daughter my dad had after he remarried. They were also the ones who came to claim my body in my past life. They had wanted to give me a proper burial, but my mom stopped them. What right do you two have? Lynn is my daughter. It's not your place. If you try to take her, I'll scatter her ashes to the wind, so she can never be reincarnated. My mom had screamed at them, spitting vile words in their faces. Legally and morally, my mom had more of a right to bury me, so they had to back down. Maybe she was afraid I'd come back to haunt her, because she and Jenna planted my grave with peach trees, trapping my spirit and leaving me in agony. It was my stepmother and stepsister who snuck out in the middle of the night and had someone dig me up. Only then was I able to close my eyes and open them again in this life. My stepmom, who had just calmed down, broke down again. Tears filled her eyes. "Lily, why are you living in a place like this? Pack your things. Come home with me." The sudden kindness stunned me. I instinctively glanced at the girl beside her, my new stepsister. After a moment, I managed to decline. "It's okay, I'm fine here. I just graduated, so I don't have much money." My stepmom and stepsister exchanged an uneasy look. My stepsister cleared her throat. "You haven't really seen us much, so you might not be comfortable living with us right away. I'll have my assistant rent an apartment for you near our house. That way Mom can see you more easily. And don't say no," she added. "This place isn't safe. Mom and I won't be able to relax knowing you're here." I looked at the girl's earnest face, so genuinely concerned for me, and I couldn't bring myself to refuse their kindness. After all, these were the people who fought for my dignity in my last life. What harm could they possibly wish on me? "Lily, you can just call me Linda. This is Amy, your sister. We were abroad for a long time, so we couldn't keep an eye on you. Please don't be mad at me." I shook my head. What they had done for me was more than enough. Linda held my hand and asked about how I'd been, repeatedly saying how much I must have suffered. Her emotional display made me a little awkward, but Amy came to my rescue. "Okay, Mom. We'll have plenty of time to take care of her from now on." Amy turned to me. "Sis, the apartment won't be ready for a few days. Will you come home with us until then? Please don't say no. Please." Her pleading look melted my heart. I nodded. "Okay." Linda set me up in a guest room with the softest, most luxurious bedding. Amy whispered to me, "My mom was so afraid you might show up one day that she bought 2 of everything, just in case. Maybe it was the comfortable room, or maybe I was just exhausted, but I fell asleep the second my head hit the pillow. When I woke up, my phone was flooded with friend requests from Jenna and my mom. "You bitch, how dare you block your own mother? You think you're so tough now you don't need family? I should have strangled you at birth. Lynn, no matter what, you shouldn't have blocked Mom. She's only thinking of you. You're being so immature." The last message was a threat from my mom. "You're not coming back, you little bitch? Fine. I'm about to burn all that crap your short-lived father left you." The mention of my dad felt like a fist squeezing my heart. The man who always called me his precious Lily in my memories was someone I could never, ever forget. After hesitating, I accepted my mom's friend request. She didn't say anything. She just sent a video. In the video, my room was completely trashed. Everything from my closet was thrown on the floor. The things I'd hidden in the very back had been dragged out and scattered everywhere. The teddy bear my dad gave me for my first birthday was cut to ribbons with a pair of scissors. In the background, I could hear my mom's triumphant, twisted voice. "Lynn, you better quit your job and get home right now. Otherwise, I'm burning all of this. This teddy bear is just your first warning." As she finished speaking, she tossed the teddy bear into a basin. A second later, flames engulfed it. My eyes instantly turned red. When my dad died, my mom threw out all the gifts he'd ever given me. I had to sneak out late at night after they were asleep to retrieve them, hiding them in the back of my closet. Now the only keepsakes I had of my dad were being used to threaten me. I gritted my teeth. I had to go back, just this once. But I was terrified of what happened last time repeating itself. I hesitated, then messaged a friend, telling her to call the police if she didn't hear from me by the end of the night. As for Linda and Amy, I didn't want to drag them into this mess. On the way home, I thought carefully about my past life. From what I remembered, my parents were set up by family. My mom never seemed to like me or my dad very much. My dad was a firefighter. He didn't make a lot of money, and I often heard my mom complaining. "I must have had the worst luck in 8 lifetimes to marry a loser like you. Look at my friends, they all get to go on vacation. And you?" My dad would always placate her gently, giving her his debit card so she could go on trips with her friends. He let her have her way with everything. They eventually divorced, but surprisingly, my mom fought for custody of me. With me by her side, she always had an excuse to demand alimony from my dad. My dad was afraid I wouldn't be well taken care of, so he'd send money even if it meant skipping meals himself. Then my mom remarried and took me with her, and I couldn't see my dad for a long time. Later, because of an accident, I lost my dad for good. My memories came to an abrupt halt. I was home. My mom and Jenna were standing at the entrance to our apartment complex, chatting with some of the old folks in the neighborhood. I'd have been better off raising a dog than raising Lynn. My husband and I worked so hard to put her through college, and the second she gets a good job, she says she's never speaking to us again. I don't want to be angry, but they're both my daughters, and Lynn, my own flesh and blood, isn't half as thoughtful as Jenna. See this gold bracelet? Our Jenna bought this for me. Seeing my mom and Jenna standing together, you'd think they were the real mother and daughter. The clueless neighbors chimed in. Wow, Lynn always seemed like such a good kid. How could she do something like that now that she's grown up? I always knew there was something cold about that girl. Her mom had it tough, remarrying and raising her all these years. You'd think she'd show some gratitude. I stood behind them, finding the whole thing ridiculous. I barely knew these neighbors, but in a few sentences, they had painted me as a heartless monster. My mom got so into her story she started believing it herself, dabbing at her eyes. My life is so hard. Jenna hugged her. It's okay, Mom. I'll take care of you. I'll be your daughter. I couldn't help but sneer. You want to play dirty? Fine. I'll tear away that last shred of dignity you're clinging to. I walked up to them. Mom, are you done? Because if you are, it's my turn. My sudden appearance startled my mom so much she almost fell off the stone bench she was sitting on. You ungrateful child. You still have the nerve to show your face? My mom shrieked, pointing a finger nearly into my eye. I slapped her hand away. Jenna screamed, Lynn, how dare you hit Mom? The crap you two are spewing is deafening, I said with a cold laugh. Mom, search your conscience. Did you ever actually raise me? After you got custody, have you ever stopped to count how much money you squeezed out of my dad? I said, my face impassive. You talk about the money you spent raising me. That was Dad's death benefit, wasn't it? You took half of the $80,000 payout. My dad paid for my upbringing a long time ago. Ever since I started high school, you made me work every summer. Handing out flyers, making milk tea, I did it all, and you still took most of the money I earned. You little brat. What kind of nonsense are you spouting all day? My mom lunged at me, trying to cover my mouth. I dodged easily, letting her fall flat on her face. You know, on the way here, I did the math. In the 7 years from high school through college, you gave me a total of $1,500. My eyes felt dry, whether from grievance or rage. $1,500. I lived on $1,500 for 7 years. I turned to one of the women who had criticized me. Ma'am, you have a daughter too. You tell me, could your daughter survive on $1,500? The woman, looking at my hysterical state, avoided my eyes and my question. I didn't care. I turned to the woman who called me cold-hearted. Ma'am, you live in this building too, right? Let me ask you, do you know what that place is? I pointed to a small window. The woman was scared of me now. The bathroom, she stammered. I laughed at myself. Yes, the bathroom. And I grew up in there. Our apartment had 3 bedrooms. But when Jenna whined to my mom that she wanted a piano room, my mom eagerly agreed and moved me into the converted bathroom. That tiny 50-square-foot bathroom contained my entire childhood and adolescence. When I hit my growth spurt in middle school, and Jenna had long stopped playing the piano, I tried asking my mom if I could move into the spare room. Just curl up when you sleep. What's the big deal? My mom had said. Stop being so dramatic. We have to save that room for Jenna. Even when the ceiling leaked and the sound of the upstairs toilet flushing kept me up all night, she never let me move. My stepdad once suggested letting me move out, but my mom and Jenna vehemently objected. The whole neighborhood said my mom was a great mother, treating her stepdaughter like her own flesh and blood. But no one knew that her actual daughter was living like a rat. My mom's face turned shades of red and white, her chest heaving with rage. I'm your mother. How dare you bitch, talk back to me. You should be grateful I even gave you life." Her voice was sharp and piercing. Even Jenna, who had been standing next to her, took a step back. Without warning, she lunged forward to slap me. "Don't you dare touch my daughter." Just as my mom's hand was about to connect with my face, a long, slender hand caught her wrist. Amy and Linda had rushed over, their faces etched with anxiety. "Sweetheart, are you okay? The second I heard you'd left, I was so worried you'd come here," Linda said, carefully checking me for any injuries. Amy shoved my mom's hand away. "My sister is already living like this, and you still want to hit her? Being a mother like you, I'd be scared of ghosts knocking on my door at night." My mom squinted, trying to recognize Linda and Amy. "Well, look who it is. The woman Frank married, and her little fox. So desperate you'd go for a second-hand man. What a shameless, worthless girl." Amy crossed her arms. "You're no different from my mom. Don't insult yourself." Linda was too well-mannered to stoop to her level, but she was furious. "Ma'am, when I left, you promised you would take good care of Lily. How could you let her live like this?" For some reason, when my mom heard Linda speak, a flicker of guilt crossed her face. But she still stuck her neck out. "How I raise my daughter is none of your business. Get lost, or I'll make you regret it. Lynn is nothing. Only trash like you would want her. Our Jenna is about to start a job at the Apex Group. Lynn should come back and serve Jenna. Maybe Jenna will throw her some scraps from the table." Amy looked at my mom and Jenna, her words firing like a machine gun. "Calling you stupid is an understatement. My sister is an Ivy League grad, interning at a major tech company. Her starting salary is more than your daughter will ever make in her life. Jenna? She barely scraped by on her SATs, and you paid for her to get some fancy degree overseas. She's not worthy of washing my sister's feet, let alone getting a job at Apex. Did you even ask my mom if she'd be okay with that?" My mom and Jenna froze. Suddenly, Jenna's phone rang. She answered it, and her face grew paler and paler. "What? My interview was canceled?" My mom and Jenna whispered to each other for a moment. When my mom turned back to me, the arrogance was gone, but her tone was still harsh. "I don't know what strings you pulled to ruin Jenna's job, but you will get it back for her right now. If I were still that little girl, desperate for a shred of my mother's love, I might have actually considered it. But things were different now. I was no longer the dog begging for scraps, hoping my biased mother would finally love me." Linda and Amy stood firmly in front of me, their expressions wary. "Don't worry, sis. We've got your back." I didn't hesitate. "Mom, my dad already paid my child support. I don't owe you anything. This is the last time I will ever call you that." With that, I turned and walked away, ignoring my mother's frantic screams as Linda and Amy escorted me to their car. After that huge fight with my mom, I blocked both of them for good. My stepfather called me once. "Lynn, I'm begging you, leave Jenna alone. No company will hire her now." I replied coldly, "If she's not good enough, don't blame others for not wanting her. Jenna was incompetent to begin with. The only reason she got an offer from Apex Group was because my mom paid her way in. Now that Linda and Amy had put the word out, no one would dare hire her." It was only after that day that I learned Linda was the youngest daughter of the chairman of Apex Group. She had just been living abroad for years and rarely made public appearances. "Lily still thinking about things?" Linda knocked on my bedroom door, holding a large box. "Can I come in?" I nodded and she entered. "I had my security team go get your things. The ones your dad left for you." She handed me the box, her voice full of apology. But some things couldn't be saved. I looked inside. The teddy bear was cut to pieces, and the letters from my dad were torn into tiny shreds. It's okay," I choked out. "Lily, there's something I've been debating whether to tell you for a long time, but I think you have a right to know." I looked at her and nodded. "Linda, you can tell me. I can handle it." She sighed and pulled out a contract from behind her back. It was stamped with 2 bright red fingerprints. The agreement stated that Linda would give her share of the death benefit, $40,000, to my mother to hold in trust. In exchange, my mother had to raise me properly after Linda moved abroad. And when I turned 18, my mom was supposed to give me half of that $40,000. I was stunned. So the entire $80,000 from my dad's death benefit went into my mom's pocket? I never knew about any of this. Linda nodded. I thought at the time that a biological mother would be better than me, that she could take better care of you. I thought my presence would only make things harder for you. And with your dad gone, I was in so much pain myself. Hearing Linda's choked voice, I felt an indescribable ache in my chest, like someone was squeezing my heart. No wonder my mom and stepdad bought a house right after they got married. They were just ordinary working class people. Yet they could afford to send Jenna to all sorts of expensive classes. I really tried. I told myself to leave you alone, to move on with my life. Linda wiped her tears, her voice thick with guilt. But lately, I keep dreaming about you. You're in my dreams, telling me that you're in pain. I couldn't ignore it. I was so scared something would really happen to you, and I wouldn't be able to face your dad in the afterlife. I'm so sorry. It's my fault you've suffered so much. Love is often feeling like you owe someone. In my past life, I thought I was a burden to my mother. Now Linda felt guilty for my misfortune. I stood up and gently hugged her. It's not your fault. Dad would never blame you. You did your best, and Amy is so kind. I had asked Amy once if she was afraid I would steal Linda's affection. But it's normal to like you. Mom and Dad always said you were an amazing role model. Besides, I've gotten way more love than you. So I don't mind sharing some to make you happy too. Amy had said, linking her arm through mine and resting her head on my shoulder. I'm not like your stupid sister who only thinks about competing with other girls. I looked at Linda. Dad would be so happy to see the three of us like this. As for the 40,000 Linda left for me, I was determined to get it back. She gave birth to me but didn't raise me, took the money but abused me. Even if she was my mother, I would not let it slide. I had Linda hire the best legal team for me. They sent my mom a letter from my lawyer, demanding she repay the 40,000 within a month. After receiving the letter, my mom went ballistic, calling me nonstop. I blocked every number. Finally, when I got to work one day, I saw her standing at the company entrance. She was holding a megaphone, her voice shrill. Lynn is a heartless monster. She abandoned her own mother and is now trying to extort a fortune from me. I'm a divorced woman who raised her through a second marriage. Not only did she ruin my stepdaughter's career, but now she's trying to tear our family apart. Don't just stand there. Get back to work, Mandy said, patting my shoulder. Just handle your personal business and you'll be fine. After leaving her office, I thought for a moment and sent a message to Linda. Linda, thank you. She replied almost instantly. We're family. Don't be silly. Come home early tonight. I made you some soup. You're too thin. I smiled and typed back, okay. Thanks, Mama Linda. I still couldn't bring myself to just call her mom, but in my heart, the woman who had saved me in 2 lifetimes already felt like a true mother. What I didn't expect was for the video of my mom screaming at me to go viral online. The footage of my mom's tirade caught a lot of people's attention. Whoa, what's the history here? What could make a mother and daughter hate each other this much? Hard to say, but if the mom is this crazy, being her daughter must be hell. Plus, it sounds like the mom owes her daughter money, so she's probably not a great person. Amid the firestorm in the comments, my mom went live on social media, her eyes swollen like 2 giant walnuts from crying. I'm a divorced woman who remarried, bringing my daughter Lynn with me. My new husband and I used the little money her father left to raise her, but now that she has her wings, she refuses to repay us. She even has the nerve to demand the money her father left her back. What's a woman like me supposed to do? This child is also incredibly jealous. She's been jealous of her talented, successful sister since they were kids. Now she's ganging up with others to ruin her sister's reputation. My poor girl cries at home every day. I feel like I've failed my husband and stepdaughter. My mom cried a river of tears, as if she were the real victim. Jenna, wearing a full face of makeup like an influencer, sat beside her, sobbing quietly. Mom, I don't blame you, and I don't blame my sister. I just want justice. I want my job back. Lynn, I'm begging you. I'm on my knees. Please, give us a way to live. They even dragged my stepdad into it. Lynn, I raised you all these years. Even if I'm not your biological father, I was a father to you. Please, stop upsetting your mother. I looked at the 3 of them in the video. My mom. I was her biological daughter. Yet she targeted me at every turn. Jenna. I never wanted anything from her, yet she constantly slandered me. My stepdad. He never did anything to me directly, but his silence was his approval of everything my mom did. He stayed out of it when things got rough, but the second his own interests were at stake, he'd push my mom to throw me under the bus. Linda was so angry she started swearing. A family of scumbags. They're still trying to drag you down with them. I want them all in jail. Amy stood by, trying to calm her down. Sis, what do you want to do? Apex has the best legal team in the business. We've never lost a case. Linda looked at me worried. Lily, she's still your mother. If you can't bear to do it, I can take you abroad. I held Linda's hand, my voice firm. Sue them. They showed me no mercy, so I'll show them none. The story blew up incredibly fast. In less than a day, online sleuths had pieced everything together. My mom thought this was still the old days, where whoever cried the loudest and played the victim won. She didn't realize that today's internet users have developed a sharp eye for spotting lies. Do they think we're stupid? The adopted daughter is wearing luxury brands and has the latest phone, while the biological daughter is dressed in clothes from Temu and uses an old phone. It's obvious who was mistreated. And honestly, a daughter wouldn't cut ties so decisively unless her mother had done something truly unbearable. The three people in this video are just so shameless. The emotional blackmail is off the charts. As the online backlash intensified and things veered far from what my mom expected, she deleted the video and her account. But it was too late. Many people had already saved it. Some of my old classmates even came forward to defend me, talking about how hard I had it in college, working 3 jobs while still earning scholarships. Linda was glued to her phone at home, one moment sadly murmuring about how much I'd suffered, the next excitedly saying she was going to buy social media boosts for everyone who testified for me. Amy and I could only shake our heads at her antics. My mom had finished her performance. Now it was my turn. I didn't want to become an internet celebrity or expose my whole life to the public, so I chose to just post a few documents. A copy of the lawyer's letter demanding the $40,000 inheritance my dad left me from the 3 of them, and a record of the living expenses my mother had given me over the years, a grand total of $5,000 in 10 years. Compared to what I had given her, $15,000 over the same period. I also included the receipts for my tuition, which I had paid myself with money from part-time jobs. As I gathered the evidence, I found it all so ironic. To this day, I still couldn't understand why I had spent so many years timidly trying to be a good daughter, when all my mom wanted was for me to die. But it didn't matter anymore. I wouldn't cry over someone who never loved me. The moment I posted the evidence, the 3 of them were plunged into a whirlpool of public condemnation. My brain just short-circuited. What? She used her ex-husband's huge death benefit to buy a house for her current husband and stepdaughter, while her own biological daughter lived like a dog. Jenna's information was dug up too. This stepsister claims her sister was targeting her, but it turns out she went to some diploma mill and tried to buy her way into a big company. El Mayo, any company that hired her would have to be blind. I watched the storm rage online, and I felt a sense of vindication. Things were spreading fast, but the legal team Linda had lent me was no joke. They were fueling the fire behind the scenes. The next time I saw my mom, her arms were pinned behind her back as she was forced to kneel in front of me. She looked nothing like her usual put-together self. Her face was haggard and worn. It's all your fault, you bitch. If it wasn't for you, they never would have kicked me out. She screamed hysterically from the floor. I glanced at the knife a bodyguard had taken from her and found it laughable. You were going to kill me? After my mom's public meltdown, Linda had assigned several bodyguards to me. So when my mom rushed at me with a knife today, she didn't even get close before they tackled her to the ground. It's you. You should be dead. I should have gotten rid of you when you were still in my womb. How could I have given birth to such an ungrateful monster? I was slightly stunned. But why? What did I ever do to you? You're just like your father. You both deserve to die. Marrying him was the biggest mistake of my life. He was just some poor loser. The sight of him made me sick. Her mind was unraveling. Why? Why did he get to marry some rich woman after we divorced? I wanted to make his life miserable. I wanted his daughter, so I could torture her to death. I looked at my mom horrified. My mom had a history with my stepdad long ago, but he had dumped her to marry a wealthy woman. My parents were set up by their families. I always knew my mom didn't like me or my dad, but I never imagined her hatred was this twisted. But my dad didn't owe you anything. And I don't owe you anything. You don't know a damn thing. I was supposed to marry a rich man. It was all your father's fault. My mom had completely lost it, but I didn't care. I took out my phone and showed her a video. It was of Jenna and her biological mother. Mom, don't worry. Once that stupid woman gets her daughter's money and buys us the house, I'll make Dad divorce her. Then the three of us can live happily ever after. I looked at my mom's shocked face. Mom, is this everything you ever wanted? This is your good daughter. Call the police, I said, looking at her broken expression without a shred of hesitation. This is what they deserve. My mom finally realized what was happening. For the first time, I saw terror on her face. Lily, I'm your mother. You've always loved your mother. How could you do this to me? She clutched at my pant leg, begging me, looking just like I had as a child, when I'd grab her pants and tell her Jenna was bullying me at school, begging her for help. What did she say back then? You live off her dad's money. You deserve it even if she beats you to death. I crouched down and pried her fingers off my pants, one by one. Mom, this is what you deserve. Have you forgotten? You killed Lily with your own hands. I'm Lynn now. My mom had a complete mental breakdown and was committed to a psychiatric hospital. Jenna was sent to prison for bullying me and several other victims who came forward. The moment Jenna's biological mother saw how things were turning out, she grabbed all the family's money and skipped town. My stepdad couldn't handle the shock and tried to jump off a building. He must have been lucky because he survived. But he was paralyzed. What did any of that have to do with me? I went with Linda and Amy to visit my dad. For so many years, out of consideration for my mom, I had rarely visited him, only sneaking by occasionally. In the photograph, my dad's face was still young and full of life. Just like when I was a little girl and he would lift me over his head, saying, "Our Lily is going to be the happiest girl in the world. Even if other people don't love you, Daddy will always love you." Linda's voice was thick with emotion. "Frank, I protected our Lily. I can finally face you now." Amy wrapped her arm around me, gently patting my trembling back. The wind blew softly. "Dad, was that you answering my thoughts?" The end.